Good evening, River West, Milwaukee, and possibly the globe. You are listening to Compose Yourself with Julie Brandenburg, our special Halloween edition. And here today in the studio is my trusty friend, sidekick, and partner, Jacob Mushin, and the bass player in the Freddie Lee Band, the bass player in the JB4, and the bass player in Enchased, whenever we get Enchased to happen. And we're expecting Denise Burton to arrive in the studio at some point tonight. We have a very special guest coming later, and I'll explain who that is when he arrives. And Spencer is playing a show tonight, and we'll talk about that later as well. So he will not be able to make it to the show. So, Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Did you get some new jeans?
I did. I'm wearing some new pants now. They don't have holes in them.
My goodness, the gleam of cleanness that's emanating from these new pants is just really quite refreshing. Wow. I feel like I don't know you.
It's a little scary, I guess.
Scary. Yes, that's the theme of today's show. I, in fact, had a bit of a Halloween scare a week early, which is why Jacob and Spencer did the show last week. I was hit by a car as a pedestrian. Somebody was in a BF hurry and kind of didn't see that somebody else was legally in the crosswalk, and everybody else had stopped for that somebody who was legally in the crosswalk. And as a result, I've been kind of laying around a lot, still taking it easy. I'm still feeling headaches and other sort of ramifications of a concussion. So I am going to be kind of spacey tonight, but probably that's okay. That's all right. So a little bit of scary stuff to report on my side of the world here.
Yeah, that was kind of scary for me, I guess, too, but not in the same way.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got a phone call. Julie, well, she's laying in the middle of the street with paramedics on the way. And at that point, they insisted on taking me to the emergency room, which is good because I needed to get a CAT scan. I needed to find out if things were worse than they were, and they're bad enough, but they're definitely not as bad as they could have been. I'm sure that was a scary scene. And tragedy also occurred. Besides my broken head, my Strangeland coffee mug shattered into millions of pieces.
Yeah, all over the street, all over Humboldt.
All over Humboldt. I so loved that cup, and I plan to order another one on the Strangeland site, where you can purchase their music as well, and we play their music quite often.
But the coffee mugs are awesome too.
Oh, the coffee mugs are just that. I loved the days when the only thing about loving the days that rained was, because I'd have to take the bus and not take my bike, was the fact that I could take my Strangeland coffee mug to work because I couldn't take that on the bike. So that was kind of like the consolation prize. I could have my homemade coffee in my Strangeland mug.
Yep.
But I'll have to wait a couple weeks in
Yeah,
order.
no more.
No, well, I will have one again. I vow to own one again.
It will be mine.
Yes, it will be mine. So, all right. Speaking of Strangeland, we will be playing a song by Sean Gill of Strangeland later on the show. Today's songs will all be themed, obviously, for Halloween. So they all have scary titles in the theme.
And a lot of them are scary songs too.
A lot of them are death metal songs. I try not to make the whole evening be death metal songs because, while I love it so, we like to mix things up around here.
So we compromised, like 80% death metal.
80% death metal. I think that's appropriate.
For Halloween, come on.
Yeah, that works. This song is so new. It's hours. It's hours in the release.
We're really exclusive. We did this a few weeks ago too.
Yeah.
Released today.
Released today. Yes, I'm very excited about that. This is by a gentleman I know who currently lives in Paris, but we have listened to his bass playing on this show before because he is the bass player for one of my favorite bands, Dan Maskey's band. They just put an album out called Endangered a couple of years ago. By Far Corner is the name of the band. So William Kopecki, Bill Kopecki, he is the bass player for Far Corner, but he has his own project, and his brother is the guitar player. Joe Kopecki is the guitar player for
Secret Society of
the Starfish. And if I forget names and band names tonight, everyone will be so forgiving and not take it personally, because I can't even remember some of the conversations I had earlier this week or even today. So please don't be offended, anyone. In fact, I should read the disclaimer before we go on. Not only should no one be offended by anything we say, the things that are being said today are the responsibility of me, the producer of this show, and not the responsibility or opinions, or do not represent the views of riverwestradio.com or the Film and Video Store. So that's our disclaimer.
And they're not liable for any legal issues arising from the content of this program.
Now wait a minute, that's not how to say that. Say that right.
What?
Drama. Come on. We always say that line with drama.
Oh, okay.
Give me some angst.
Yeah,
Feel it,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, and they are angst like
Come on, this is not like method acting here. Angst. Give me angst.
And they are not liable for any issues arising from the content of this program.
Oh my gosh, now that I felt. I felt that. All right. So they're not liable. Okay. Before I just wasn't feeling that. Now I'm convinced. So I have my Halloween dress on, which, what is that? I was at Fish Burgers on Holton Street a couple months ago and fell in love with this fantastic Halloween fabric that she's got over there. She's got some fantastic fabrics. And I hate sewing. And I just loved this fabric so. It looks like all these little Edward Gorey characters. Or somebody else, Ben at school commented it reminded him of Nightmare Before Christmas characters.
It's like witches on brooms and stuff.
Yeah, there's like a strange-looking deranged child, and then there's trees.
Scary bear trees and
a vampire and some old dude who's walking a dog that's invisible because all you see is the collar.
And the footsteps, the paw prints.
And then the paw prints. But I just fell in love with this fabric, so because this is a radio show, I'll have to take a picture of me in the dress and post it on our Compose Yourself page, because you can podcast the show if you miss it. So, we are excited to be looking out the window and seeing people in Halloween costumes tonight, but blah, 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 blah. I had too much coffee today. It's time for us to debut a new release by Haiku Funeral called... the bass player is William Kopecki, called Behemoth Rising.
Climax altar. You offer your body to me. Corpus Diabolus, brimming with blood, boiling behind the curtains of forbidden love. Alchemy of glands, your hands pallid pentagrams.
Behemoth Rising by Haiku Funeral. Brand new released today. This is very hot off the press.
Awesome. That doesn't happen too often.
No, I feel very cutting edge today.
Yeah.
So this band, you can find the CD, which is entitled Nightmare Painting, at the Aesthetic Death Records website in the UK. And I was able to download this MP3 for free, which I did because right now I'm really broke, but when I get paid next week, I plan to purchase the entire album, as I would encourage anyone to do at this point. It's really awesome. And Rock-a-Rolla magazine recently called it sexy, disturbing, and brilliantly baffling, one of the most unique albums of the year. So the website is www.aestheticdeath.com. That's the website for the record company. That's it. What did you guys think?
That was the doomiest thing we've listened to so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Perfect opener for Halloween.
Yeah, definitely. Very befitting. It's hard to make a scary movie, much less a scary song.
Oh,
The
yeah.
songs aren't really normally intimidating, but If you can pull that off where you can scare someone with a song, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was like chilling,
Yeah.
Hair on the back of your neck stands up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and it sounded like he was singing about the beginning of the end of the world, which I think is the only prerequisite for it to be Doom.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that counts Doom music.
Yeah.
Well, as a bass player, I mean, even though it has all of those elements of the horror kind of washy horror film sort of feel to it, his musicianship is just so amazing. He's just solid as a bass player, but creative. Did you notice how he was going up to those really high frets, or if he was playing a fretless? I'm not sure. Do you think he was playing a fretless?
It sounded like he was playing different strings. He was more likely, well, I mean, it was higher frets too, but the higher up strings, it has a way different sound to it when you hit the G string versus the E string.
Oh.
Especially if you have a bass with active pickups, which I assume he does.
And you wouldn't expect the bass to get real high in this kind of music, because you're expecting that it's going to stay really low and grungy.
He was the only melodic instrument in the entire thing, though. The singing was growling, and there was just him and drums, so he had to do kind of interesting melody stuff. He played some chords, and he played some weird dissonant patterns.
Yeah. Heavy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The lovely Liv is passing by the studio. She was waving to blowing kisses. I was excited. I can't wait to hear the rest of this. I really like the name of the band too, Haiku Funeral.
I was trying to think of a funeral haiku, but it didn't work out. Kept getting 6 syllables. So I was like, never mind. Maybe I'll have it by the end of the show.
There you go.
That's funny.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
It'll be like, all right, see you next week. Wait, I got a haiku.
Yeah. Exactly.
We should have had a haiku contest. That would have been good.
That really would have been.
We got to plan these things ahead of time. I can't come up with haikus on the fly.
I tried, you guys. So, awesome. Yeah, so I definitely would recommend. Let's move on to Sean Gill, who plays in Strangeland. And again, I was choosing songs by my friends and colleagues and some people I don't even know, who have titles of songs that are perfect for Halloween. And this one's called Murderous Moon Over a Darkened Highway.
Dun, dun, dun. I can't sing entire chords, I'm sorry.
Sean Gill here on RiverWestRadio.com. Mysterious Moon.
Murderous Moon.
Pardon?
Murderous Moon.
Did I say mysterious? Murderous Moon Over a Darkened Highway by Sean Gill. And this is off of his Book of Ashes CD, which you can get by looking him up on Reverb Nation. Also, the Strange Land page is another place you can contact Sean Gill. What do you guys think of this?
That was cool. It sounded like it was just him playing an acoustic guitar, just doing, kind of improvising over 2 different parts. The one part in the middle was really trippy. It sounded like it was some kind of weird time signature. I couldn't even count that out though. So.
What?
Yeah, I know. I thought I had it for a second, but then it kept changing. He did some interesting stuff in there with like adding an extra beat in sometimes and then subtracting a beat sometimes.
I think this is a compose yourself first.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's normal for me not to know what was going on with the time signature. But you, Jacob?
Yeah, I know.
The professor over here is losing his touch.
No, you're the professor, remember?
Oh, that's right. The mathematician here.
Oh, wow. That was cool. Once again, just being able to make an acoustic guitar sound menacing.
Yeah, and doing all of those different sounds.
Yeah. And it was never boring.
No, it wasn't.
Throughout the whole song, he was doing enough changes to.
Even though most of it was just playing the same riff, but he was improvising over it
Yeah.
and making it interesting.
Very true. Very true.
I liked those little maniacal fills that kind of like snuck in there out of I think
Yeah.
that's where those extra beats might have come from, because it's like he's doing dum bump 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 bump, and then he's doing, and then it's just back to the
Yeah.
other thing again.
Probably it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, throwing in the what do you call it? The flat fifth interval.
Right.
The what
Diminished.
do you call it? The
Oh, the
devil's
tritone.
triad
The
or whatever.
tritone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tritone. Yeah, that was just playing little fills with that. I guess he may have been adding or subtracting beats. I just got lost after a while. I was just listening. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, you have done something no one else has done. You made Jacob forget what
Except
time
for Fripp, he's
signature.
done it a bunch of times too.
Oh yeah. I think we're gonna end up hearing a lot of diminished chords today.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Or at least half diminished chords.
Right. The selections that I came up with for today are definitely all menacing and dark and moody, and I love Halloween.
Or at least Halloween-y, yeah.
And very Halloween-y. You know, I didn't get to go out this weekend, which, there'll be next year. I had my costume lined up and get to go, and tomorrow I have to work, and I'm not up to going out tonight. But did you get to go out for Halloween?
Yes, kind of a funny story actually. I was supposed to go trick-or-treating at Bayshore Mall with my cousin on Friday, but she ended up having to have dance rehearsal. She completely forgot. So there was a birthday party. It was a kid's birthday party,
Sure.
but all of the adults agreed that we were going to dress up.
Okay,
So I
I know where this is going.
Yeah. I get there in this full Robin Hood outfit with the mask and everything, and I walk in, and all the adults are normal.
Oh!
And I was like, are you serious? We agreed that we were going to have Nicki Minaj here. We were going to have my husband was going to be T-Pain. We was going to buy him a top hat.
Did he do it?
He got sick.
Oh.
Yeah, so he wasn't able to make
That would have been epic.
it would have been. He gets mistaken for T-Pain all the
I
time
could
at his
see
job,
that.
and it's hilarious because they literally ask for autographs, and they will sit there and talk to him the whole time. And he's like, "I'm not T-Pain. My dreads are not even that long yet." But
Thanks, I guess.
yeah, yeah. But I still had fun, but I was
Yeah.
the only adult. that was
So what you're
dressed up.
telling me is you walked into a room and you were different than everyone else in
Yes,
the room.
there you go. Just like my son.
I bet that's never happened to you before.
I know, right? I was like, oh my goodness. I was just shaking my head because of course the kids are dressed up.
See,
Yeah.
but
But
they
then we have
respected you for it.
Yeah, they did. The kids was like, who are you, Peter Pan? And then everybody thought I was Peter Pan too, so because I had these brown tights.
Oh, whatever. You should just rolled with it. Been
I
like,
probably
yeah,
should've.
damn right, I'm Peter Pan.
I know, right? I was like, yeah. So I ended up just being Peter Pan by the end of the
There you
day.
go.
It was fun though. I got lots of candy.
Nice.
I made sure of that because I didn't get to go trick or treating.
Ah,
Yeah, and we live in a building that's not really, it looks like a business, so we don't bother getting trick-or-treat candy because the kids don't even knock on the door. So I took some stuff I ended up taking Little Debbie snacks to school yesterday because Sunrise was out of Halloween candy already, so I just got Little Debbie snacks, and that was my giving out trick-or-treat for the season.
Yeah.
So, well, let's listen to one more. It's time for one of our favorite segments, shameless, self promotion.
oh yeah, we don't have a kazoo. Wah wah.
Thank you. I was like dead silence where, insert kazoo in your mind in this dead silence area right here. Okay. So, I couldn't help but pull this out. I'm reticent to play stuff from the 90s that I've done, but this just had to be.
Nice.
And so this is an oldie but goodie from True Heart Susie in the 90s called Little Ghost.
I'm a little ghost living in your house. You wash your floors, won't make me go lost. I'm a little ghost living in your house. You wash your floors, won't make me go away. Give a I'm a little ghost living in your clothes. You wash your feet, won't make me go away. If you belong to this I'm a little ghost living in your house. You wash your floors, won't make me go away. Living in your clothes, living in your soap. You soak your skin, won't make me go
Little Ghost, True Heart Susie, A Blast from the Past, one of my bands. What'd you guys think?
I really liked that. It was fun. It was so fun. And it was. I liked the way it started out with the creepiness, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And then all of a sudden, I'm a little ghost. Like, hey, like you're introducing yourself, and so I kept seeing Casper.
Yeah,
'cause
me
I just,
too.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I
Yeah,
thought.
'cause
I envisioned Casper the Friendly Ghost for the entire song.
Yes,
Totally.
because he started off as scary in the movie because
Sure.
they didn't know who he was. So, and I just recently watched it like not too long ago, and so
I don't doubt it.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. No, I was kidding.
In
No,
this
I
circle,
watched
it's a
it.
compliment.
Thanks. Yeah.
I used to watch the animated miniseries, so
Really?
yeah,
I did too.
yeah, that was
See?
pretty great.
Really? Because I
Yeah.
thought you guys were too young for that.
No, I think they redid it. There was an
Oh,
animated miniseries
never
in the
mind.
90s.
But I think they have some on Netflix. I think.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
not
have to check
mistaken.
it out.
That'd
Yeah.
be kind of a fun thing to go home and check out.
Yeah.
I always like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
So
That one I could count out. That was just 7/8.
I was just gonna say, Mr.
Yeah.
Mathematician.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, no. It was,
And I really kind of liked playing that little joke on 90s audiences because they were there. They wanted to, we were kind of a pop prog band. So it's kind of like power pop, prog. It wasn't straight ahead pop music, but it definitely was, accessible and fun. And I just loved watching people try to dance to that.
If it looked anything like it did when I tried to rock to it just now, I can imagine that was funny.
I didn't notice. I didn't notice you were.
I ended up stopping because I was like, I look ridiculous. So I was like, I'll just tap my hand or
It's
something.
like, what do you do with the missing beat? You're like, wait, where's the one?
Yeah. I let my sister listen to a 5/4 song, and it was hilarious watching her try to rock to it. And she was like, she was like, I was like, I'm sorry, sis, it's not at a regular time signature.
So mean. I know. I've done it to people.
And she didn't really know what to do because she was like, she liked the song, but she just didn't know how to move to it. So it was just funny. It was hilarious.
and that's a huge part of why progressive music doesn't do well in the mainstream because
Right.
people just can't dance to it.
Yeah.
For those of us who can't dance anyway, it's great.
There you go.
So-
We're always either adding a beat or missing a beat.
That's right, or sometimes several.
Yeah.
So
And we end up just catching up at the end of the song. We catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's in disguise because really you don't really realize that it's in a funny time signature until you try to rock out to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of songs that have been hits throughout the ages, the ages, recorded music ages, that have been hits. Now, Dave Brubeck's Take 5 is
Yeah.
one of them. And
That
I'm
came to mind
imagining,
first.
And
yeah.
my first one I was exposed to that was huge was Money by Pink Floyd. Is the majority of it's written in 7/4. The solo part of it is in 4. But that saxophone player played his solo in 7/8. That was ridiculous. The saxophone player did not switch time signatures.
Wow.
And then there's Salisbury Hill. What is the name? Peter Gabriel.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably all I can sing.
Yeah.
But that one also. Are you
And-
familiar with that one, Denise?
I don't think I am.
21st Century Schizoid Man was in, most of it was in 7, and that got a pretty big hit.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, that was even before my time, so.
Well, the beauty of the internet.
Right. So yes, I played that little trick on Peeps, but
Such an evil thing to do. But it's befitting for the time.
I'd be grooving up there and just be fine, and I'm not a very good dancer, but I knew what it was, so I could do it, and I'd look at me like, look at this one over here.
I wouldn't even be able to keep a straight face. Oh my goodness, that's just funny.
That's why I perform without a microphone, so I can laugh all I want.
There you go. That's smart.
So that was Tom Hansen on the violin, and Jeff Hamilton on guitar, Steve Titch on the bass, and Tom Doherty on the drums, I believe, on that recording. And possibly John Southmaid, I'm forgetting if he played guitar on that as well, but if he did, that was also wonderful. So, yeah, Blast from the Past. And did just a little trivia thing. The little piano thing that was woven into the skipping record sound, did you notice that?
Yeah.
Did you recognize that?
I did, and I was trying to pick it up because at first I thought it was abstract, and then I started hearing that there was melody to it. But it reminded me of something that you would hear like in 1950s or like ragtime kind of. It reminded me of ragtime a little bit.
You're not so far off the base with that because do you have any guesses what composer?
I
No
didn't
guesses?
catch what that was. I didn't hear it.
That was a bit of Chopin, a wee bit of the Chopin. And yeah, and it's one of my favorite pieces, and of course now I can't remember what it is, but it's I think it's an A flat. It's just a little waltz. And it's interesting that you picked up a little bit of a ragtime idea from it because the ragtime composers were operating with one foot in the classical world and the other foot in the pop music that was going on at the time. And so Scott Joplin probably had lots of influence of Chopin, because Chopin was a late Romantic era composer, and that's right when the ragtime stuff kind of came to light. And of course the old people freaked out and said this is the end of our society as we know it.
Right.
And somehow we're still here.
Yeah.
This is why you're the professor. I never learned any of that stuff.
Well, right. So but I think she's referring to the pattern that you're hearing in the left hand, the dum.
Yeah, waltz.
Well, right, and he appropriated that. Only what he did was he syncopated. Dum 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 dum. It became a syncopated pattern with the same notes. So he was picking up that sensibility, but then adding, these new rhythmic sensibilities that were coming to light in New Orleans. So that makes total sense. I just thought I'd throw that little piece of trivia in there. We have shameless self-promotion of one of our usual panelists who's very faithfully here, but not today simply because today he is playing a show for Halloween. So we will promote Shroud of Despondency and mention that the show tonight is not Shroud of Despondency. It's at the Cream City Collective, and it's a pentagram tribute band, so it should be going on probably after 10 when we're off the air.
Right, and it's Spencer and John Lidke, also from Shroud of Despondency, is playing guitar, and then they're going to have Jason Ellis sing, I believe, is how it's going to work.
Oh, boy, that sounds like fun. I wish I could go. I really wish I could go. Where is this located? Do you know where Cream City
don't know.
Collective
I've
is?
actually never been there.
I'm sure if you look it up online, you'll be able to find it. So we're going to play a song by Shroud of Despondency.
That's also Halloween themed.
Yeah, and this, of course. And, of course, this is John Lidke and Spencer and some other wonderful folks who I didn't write their names down, but they're fantastic. And the song is called Light Words, Dark Graves.
supposed to be, I'm supposed to be over there. But I like it here. Cause I feel like me here. It's everything attached to. And I have this nasty sensation. I'm feeling like if I get into that there, Bill Ticker's gonna stop here. It'll have that. Oh, okay, you're here now. Hey, he's here, everybody. Hey, he's here. We got him back.
Shroud of Despondency here on RiverWestRadio.com on a wonderful, lovely Halloween evening. Was that not perfect?
Yeah, that was very scary and Halloween.
Yes.
I actually did get scared at the end because I was like, "Uh-oh, what's gonna happen?" I thought the song was over.
That guy sounded like he was tripping out on something.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing very well.
Yeah.
Now let's not speak ill of zombies. You know, they're people too, or they're
Right.
beings too.
There you go. They used to be people.
They used to be people. That's right.
They were people.
So I, you know, it's kind of funny because when people talk about death metal and, you know, it's all the growling and stuff, I'm like, yeah, but you know what? It's kind of like, I really like horror films too.
There you go.
It's
Yeah.
not like anybody
And that's just all
takes
people
this
dying.
seriously, but it's fun to have the heaviness and the kind of like the chill up your spine.
The aggression.
Yeah.
And the aggression, and you know, it's and this is just at the end they're making no secret of the fact that this is supposed to be a bit theatrical and it's supposed to evoke these, you know,
And
horror themes.
The people in bands that do death metal well have incredible technical proficiency. Like they're the best in the world as far as playing fast.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of great playing on that cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, the drumming and both of the guitar players, you know, it was all really well done.
Well, I think it's time for our quiz. So, we don't have we're missing the kazoo again. Well, you guys are going to have to take up like the glockenspiel or something.
I have a clarinet.
Oh, you do, don't you?
Yeah, I'll have to bring that if Spencer's not going to be here next time.
Well, if you'd have played it tonight, it would have sounded kind of scary.
Yeah, I've played that thing like once in the last year, so.
I see. Yeah, you're going to learn that. That'll be cool. So, finish the lyrics from Monster Mash. I was working in the blank late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. And the correct answer is...
What, was it working in the graveyard late one night? Or it was something like that. I remember something about graveyards in that song. I haven't heard it in a long time.
Nope.
Has nothing to do with a railroad, I'm assuming. I've been working on Although,
Different theme.
yeah, maybe if you're burying the person.
That's true.
I'm going to go with lab.
That is correct. Lab is the correct answer. Yep.
Oh, yeah, it was a graveyard smash. That was
late
what.
one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. It was the mash. It was a graveyard smash.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Okay. What song do these lyrics come from? If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call?
That's got to be the Ghostbusters theme song.
Yeah. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I love that. I karaoke that song for fun at my friend's birthday party. It was hilarious.
Great song.
It-
Great
it's-
song.
It is.
How does there's a riff to that, right? How does that riff go?
Yeah.
I wanted to finish that real quick because I felt that I only had like a second left before we couldn't sing it anymore.
Cut off, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Thanks.
We only have the 8 seconds. I forgot about it. I would have sang the whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this true or false? DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince were sued for making the song Nightmare on My Street.
I'm going to say true just because it'll be funny if they got sued.
All right,
That's my only reason.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to say false.
Now, wait a minute. The answer is true. The answer is true.
Wow, there you go.
They really got sued?
Yeah, they really got sued. 33.4% of people get this wrong. And I'll tell you right, full disclosure, they should get credit for this. I did not compile these fantastic
Halloween.
Halloween themed, wonderful quiz here. It was from Brainago?
Brangle.
Brangle. So if you want to revisit this and look at other wonderful quizzes, Brangle is where I got this from, I'll admit it. In the movie Hocus Pocus, what song do the Sanderson sisters sing at the Halloween party?
Well, I've never seen that movie, so I'm gonna have to pass on this one.
Now you know this is a multiple choice.
Oh, is it?
Yes, you have a script.
Oh.
I mean, that's partially why Denise is answering them all, fairly accurately.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I didn't even see any of the multiple choice so far.
Oh.
Oh, hi there.
Wow.
We have a guest.
there,
He's a little
cutie.
black lab or a medium-sized
Some kind of dog.
Black lab. Very cute dog.
All right, I'm gonna guess I put a spell on you.
That song is hilarious. Have you heard the whole thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
At the end?
That's a great song.
Yeah. I haven't seen Hocus Pocus in years, but I think I'm going to go with Monster Mash.
Okay. This time Jacob is correct.
Ah.
He helps to look at
Nice.
Shot in the dark there.
the answers.
But a little bit less of a shot in the dark than not
Yeah,
looking at the
right,
multiple choice.
So, I put a spell on you. Screamin' Jay Hawkins. I love
Is
that
that
song.
who sings that?
Yep.
I put a spell on you, bones.
Uh-huh.
Bones.
Wait, that's like 7 seconds. You gotta be careful. Remember?
Can we do? Can we do that part? That's my favorite part.
I don't think that part's copyrighted.
There you go.
It's hard to copyright.
That was really that
was a good
very,
impression.
Very good impression.
Thanks.
I like
If I need that in one of my songs, I know I can count on you.
Yes, you can. You can anytime.
That was awesome. All right. Who sings these lyrics? This one's too easy.
And any multiple choice.
I know. Come on. Because this is Thriller Night, and no one is going to save you from the beast about to strike.
Elton John.
No.
Perfect.
He's scary enough if he sings that.
Michael Jackson.
Right. Actually, 76.8% of people get this answer correctly, so I would hope so. Warren Zevon sang about werewolves. What city?
I have no idea. There's no multiple choice on this one.
No multiple choice, because I thought this one was easy.
I have heard very few Warren Zevon songs in my
Okay.
life.
Dum bum dum bum bum bum. Ooh, werewolves of
I never heard the song. I have no idea.
Denise.
I am so clueless. I'm gonna say Omaha. Werewolves of Omaha.
Okay, let's see if that works. Ooh, werewolves of Omaha.
My brother lives there. That's why. That was such a fail.
I
It has to
have,
be something with 2 syllables, I would think.
I have no idea. I've never heard the song.
Werewolves of London.
Of London. Okay.
I knew it. 2 syllables.
There you
That
go.
counts for something.
It does count for something.
Not much though.
Finish the lyrics from This is Halloween, this is Halloween, this is Halloween, blank, scream in the dead of night.
We scream in the dead of night. Probably not, but I would scream in the
Ooh,
dead
we
of
got a
night.
witch walking by. Hello,
Oh.
witch.
Hi.
I am not a witch, she said.
We have no candy. I have a hall.
No candy.
We can't go outside.
Candy. I'm sorry. Bye. Happy Halloween.
You know where this is from, right?
This is from The Nightmare Before Christmas. But I
Yeah.
can't exactly remember hear a child scream in the dead of night or something like that.
This is Halloween, this is Halloween, this is Halloween, pumpkins scream in the dead of night.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, it's pumpkins.
Yeah, pumpkins. There you
Oh.
go.
Yep, it's pumpkins.
That is awesome.
I would have thought witches. That would have been my answer.
Yeah, no.
I'm always screaming, so I figured somebody can be screaming with me for a change.
I haven't. That's a movie I haven't watched in a long time.
I love that.
I know.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
I'm a big Tim Burton fan,
Me too.
oddly enough.
No, I am too. The last time I watched that movie, it was in French though. So
I have to be honest, I can't remember the composer. Now, come on, help me out. Who's the composer of all of his scores?
I don't remember.
He was from Oingo Boingo, and I should know his name.
I
Oh,
totally don't.
God. it's
Plinko?
just- No.
Thinking of The Price is Right. I'm just grasping at straws
Random.
here.
Just-
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Oh, gosh, I should know this, but he write great stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
The music's really good
yeah.
in all
Music
those.
is really great in
All the
those
time.
films.
Yeah.
Did you see Corpse Bride?
I did. I have that at home.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah,
movie.
me too.
Yeah.
Love it. My niece loves it too, and her mom doesn't like it because it's creepy looking. But
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a cool movie.
Come on, it's
Yeah.
Halloween
Yeah.
stuff, you know.
It's a good movie.
Finish these lyrics from the theme song to the Addams Family. Their house is a blank where people come to see him. They are really a scream.
Museum.
Yeah, it rhymes. Good for you. The
I-
house
no,
is a
I've actually
museum.
seen the Addams
People
Family.
Come to see him. All right.
I had to learn that for a musical review I did when I was a little kid. We had to learn the whole theme for the Addams Family, so that's one I actually had a
Okay.
concept of.
All right.
I think what would have been scarier is their house is in foreclosure. Ooh.
Oh.
Everyone's been scared about that.
That is, that does bring us to another scary topic. The election. The next time we sit in these chairs, we will have the results.
Oh my goodness.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is that soon, huh?
Yeah.
That is creepy to think about.
Yeah. Oh boy! Now it's no secret that the producer here and the guests of this show are all Dems. We're all Dems.
Oh yeah.
You're a
Yeah.
Dem, right? Yeah. So I mean, we don't want to offend anybody who's not. If you're a listener and you don't agree with us politically, hopefully you still like the music we play.
Yeah.
But I feel like if nothing else, who really is somebody that you could feel that has some kind of grasp on everyday people's problems?
Yeah.
I really do hate all of the vitriol and the bashing. Do I think that Romney is an evil, terrible person? No, I don't. I don't. But he's not been in the same kind of life situations as President Obama, and I know that sounds like a really naive and silly reason to pick a president. It's not the only reason. I also have charts, but I can't.
There you go.
I have charts that show that actually the economy has gotten better and that we have added jobs, and that actually the biggest chart of all is the economy. The government deficit always goes up under Republican presidents. This is counterintuitive to what you would think. They're always squawking about the deficit, the deficit this and the deficit that. It always goes down under the Dems and goes up. Government spending always goes up. It's historically true. And finally, to me, the trickle-down situation it has never historically worked. It never has, and we tried giving tax cuts to the rich. That was the Bush tax cuts.
Yeah.
We did this.
We're still doing it.
We did this. We still have them right now. It's not working. That does not work. It's
Yeah.
not an opinion. It's a fact. And so when I put these facts together, so I had to say those things just so people don't think that I'm not choosing my president. Because, gosh, I could hang out with him, and Michelle's so pretty. It's not why I'm picking the president. But the fact is yes, the fact that I feel that he has some awareness and is in touch with what people whose homes have been foreclosed on, what they've gone through, what people who have big student loans. Everyone in the room who has big student loans, raise your hand. That's me. And, people who have struggled to go to college, that's Denise. And people who are struggling to find employment, that's Jacob.
And Denise.
And Denise.
There
Denise
you go.
and I are the underemployed.
Yeah.
We're the underemployed. And that's a big trend in our country right now is underemployed. And that's a funny place to be because you're making a little too much money to get help, but you're not making enough to really be able to just relax.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is. It really is.
And I guess I want a president who can, follow through on the charts. But deep down inside, it's nice to know, as an aside, that this president, honestly, if the guy was a total, I can't say it on the radio, but he really, was moving in the right direction with the economy, I wouldn't care, so that's not the main issue. I do believe we're moving in the right direction. The charts and statistics show that. But, this administration, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, has been held back on a lot of the initiatives. Right now would be a really good time for the government to repair all the bridges and roads that have to be repaired. This has to happen.
Yeah.
And the reason why is interest rates are really low right now. So even though, we're borrowing money. Yeah, we are. It is true. We're borrowing at a much lower interest rate, and these things have to be done.
Once they're done,
So
we'll
why
make more
not do
money.
it now with
There you
borrowing at a low interest rate, put people to work so they pay more taxes?
Yeah.
And then we'll have the safer bridges and roads, and then when we pay it back, we're paying it back at a lower interest rate with more revenue because more people have been working.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense. And a lot of times people don't think of the big picture of everything. They just kind of focus on what's being placed in front of them. And I almost think about like cats. They pretty much will play with anything you place in front of them. That's like
yeah.
that dangles. They'll just play keys, yarn, a little.
Yeah, whatever you
just-
got.
Yeah, and I feel like some people are basing their decisions off of what's being dangled in front of them as far as what they're being shown on commercials or what's being talked about in debates. But you can look up any record online and find out for yourself. So I would just encourage people to just do that, because I'm in the process of reading, both sides and figuring out, okay, how do I feel about both? And like you said, it's not necessarily, because some people just go straight Democratic, straight
Right.
Republican, but
Right.
we can think, we should really
Totally.
Gotta
look.
compromise.
Yeah, we got to actually look into things. and-
Labels only mean so much.
Exactly.
Right, and I absolutely agree with Denise, because there are some things that I have very nuanced opinions about in terms of they're actually more conservative views on just a few select things. I won't go into it. But like you said, bigger picture. I mean, I know a lot of people struggle with some of their values and their faith, and how can I vote in a way that doesn't betray my faith? That's hard too. But like you said, I think you really said it. You got to look at the bigger picture
Yeah.
and make the decision based on what is really going to be best for the majority of people. And if
And the majority of people in the world too, not just in the country.
Yeah.
right now cutting programs, for poor people and cutting food stamps for poor people, that to me is immoral.
Yeah.
And I have a moral issue with that. So, okay, well, yeah, this is a scary topic. This is our Halloween show, and I think we should get back to the quiz, because I know me, and I know you guys could talk about this forever, and I don't want to
Yeah.
offend anybody, but everybody,
And
no matter
there's,
what,
like,
please vote on Tuesday.
There's like 8 other shows on riverwestradio.com that are going to be talking about this for the whole week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we'll talk about the Purple Eater. Purple People Eater. Who wrote that? Who wrote the Purple People Eater?
Again, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. Even with the multiple choice, I've never heard the song as far as I know.
Well, who do you think didn't? Well, there's 3 people on this. 3 choices. Sheb Woolley, Judy Garland, and Barry Cryer.
I don't think it was Judy.
I don't
Yeah, yeah. The other, I didn't know either.
I would go with Sheeb. Is that his name?
Yeah, well, maybe.
Who knows?
Sheb Woolley.
He just has a cool name. I'll go with him.
That's kind of why when I did the quiz, that's kind of why I picked him too. I'm like it's Sheb, Sheb Woolley, but this guy had to have been picked on as a kid.
Yeah.
It's not a good name.
It's not a good name. What
Good
was-
thing there
what
wasn't a
was the
P
parents'
there.
name?
Sheep Woolly.
Yes, yeah, I don't know what their parents were thinking there. Santana's Black Magic Woman reached number 4 on the U.S. and Canadian charts. Is that true or false?
That song I do know, but that's a little before my time. I have no idea, but I'm going to go with true, just to make a guess on this one.
That's perfect, because my guess was false. So now we have like a.
One of us will be wrong.
Yeah.
It seems like either it's a trick question or it's an obvious way to say, yeah, boy, he had a hit in both. He had a hit in both. Had a hit in
Oh,
both. Yeah,
okay.
So that's true. I didn't really
Cool.
know the answer to that either. So, our quiz. Let's get back to our... Now, we're going to take a departure from the death metal just for a moment here. I mean, it's...
Don't panic, everyone.
I know. There will be more death metal. It is a Halloween show, so don't turn off that dial. But right now, I'm going to play a completely different thing. which is some classical composition by my instructor and mentor, my former instructor.
The
and
word is
mentor.
sensei.
My sensei, yes, I would absolutely agree. He certainly is. Yehuda Yanai, and this is part of a suite of pieces that he's written called "The End of the Parade." At the End of the Parade, and this one is called "Death, the Barber."
Of death, the barber talked to me. Cutting my life with sleep to trim my hair. It's just a moment. He said we die and of the newest ways to go unbold death, I told him of the quartz lamp and of old men with third sets of teeth. To the cure. For which death shades him twice. A week.
Death the Barber on riverwestradio.com by Yehuda Yanai, part of a suite of pieces at the end of the parade. What'd you think?
That was creepy.
Had an eerie beauty to it, which I liked. And opera is scary to sing. I will have to admit that just because it's so technical. There's really literally no room or tolerance for error. You have to be like P90X
Yeah.
in the vocal folds to do that.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, opera's just scary in general.
Yeah, yeah. I like the slowness of it. Almost as if the parade is over. Because anytime you see a parade, you always see like the street sweepers and things and all the police officers and things like that. And it's kind of like, oh, it's over. No more fun.
Yeah, and it's dusk.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of the feel that I was getting from it, like after all the excitement is over.
You know, it started out really dark and kind of sinister, and then there was that ray of sunrise in the middle, and then all of a sudden that was
Yeah.
short-lived. That almost seemed like it might have been kind of almost a flashback or a recollection rather than what was happening.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I like that ideal because of was that a marimba? What was that?
I think that just was some kind of a, I don't know, a glockenspiel.
Yeah,
I
xylophone.
mentioned that before, but a real high-pitched, it's a pitched percussion thing, but I'm not exactly sure exactly what it was. It could have been about, like, the, pitched chimes, but it didn't sound like that. I think it was a glockenspiel. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, because it did have a sense of like snapping out of something.
Yeah.
Because I was really relaxed, and then when that came in, I jumped a little bit, like, wasn't expecting
a couple
that.
of times that he had a cello or a bass or something do that too once, where all of
Yeah.
a sudden, boom, and it was just like, whoa, all right, now we're in a different place now.
Yeah.
His work, he really concentrates a lot on not just melodies and rhythms, but on timbres. He's really into, like, there was a sound where there was whistling, and I think there was a flute with the whistling.
Wow.
Did you notice
Oh
that?
yeah, I totally caught that. It was at the end of it, and the whistling was just a little bit off of the flute, where most of the
Yeah.
time it was on, but it kept like every so often being off by like an eighth note or something, and it was really weird.
And so that blending of those two sounds just sounded really neat. He does that a lot. We've listened to some of his music before where he's just taking the instrument to all different places. That's not what you would expect the instrument
Yeah,
to sound like.
not thinking of what melody it can play, but what sound can it actually make? Like if you over attack it, like over attack the pickups on a guitar, over attack the mouthpiece on a horn, or there's a lot of things you can do to make really interesting sounds that you wouldn't think to put into most types of music.
And kind of talking about, you were mentioning the style of singing. Obviously, this singer had, excellent control and sound and tone. And because the notes are contemporary and based not on, usual scale patterns, it's hard to sing because there's lots of intervals in there. But there was another aspect of that singing style that's called, there's a term for it, it's called Sprechstimme. That's a scary word right there. It sounds like, ooh, I've got Sprechstimme. Oh no, it's a catchy.
Got to get a shot in the butt now.
Sprechstimme it's a German word and it means song speak.
Oh.
Did you notice how there was times when he'd be singing and half talking?
Yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of, I really picked up a music theater vibe on it for a little while too, and that's what they do in a lot of music theater. They'll be talking and then they'll start singing for a second, and then they'll go back into their little soliloquy and tell you something again, and then sing again, and that's kind of how that song flowed.
Yeah, this style, this development in modern music, originated from Schoenberg and Webern mostly Schoenberg and Berg, his student Alban Berg.
So 12-tone music.
Yeah, that was 12-tone music, and you're familiar with the Matrix. Somebody want to briefly explain that?
The Matrix.
Not the movie.
Well, Jada. No, I was kidding. No.
The 12-tone matrix is basically the composer just pulls 12 different all the possible pitches are thrown into a hat, and the composer just literally or figuratively, sometimes literally, just picks them out of a hat. Sometimes the composer does deliberately order them for certain effects.
But playing with 12 tones makes it so it doesn't have a scalar shape at all, and the vast majority of scales that people play with in modern music are diatonic scales, not, what do you call that with 12 notes?
Chromatic.
Well, you're right, it's just a chromatic scale.
Right. But so all of the tones are there, and the order stays the same throughout the whole piece. So I know in composition you guys looked at that and tried to, did you actually attempt a 12-tone in your class? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I forgot what mine was.
So different octaves have different notes.
It doesn't matter what octave you're in, and the notes can have any rhythmic value. And then there's different flavors of that row. So if you've got this row of 12 notes, if you do it backwards, that's a different flavor, and that's called retrograde, which basically means backwards. Only it sounds way cooler and more technical to call it retrograde.
It does.
And then there's other versions of it. So it's hard to sing that because, again, like Jacob was saying, there's none of the typical bum ba da bum. You know exactly what's coming next. Ti do. Okay, that's what you're expecting.
Right. There's nothing
like that,
There's
is
no
there?
leading tones.
There's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no walking. There's no resolving. It's just it keeps on going, and it could play any note. And if you're not used to hearing music that has all 12 notes in the traditional scale being played, traditional chromatic scale, then it's gonna sound really weird.
So this now in this piece, Professor Yanai was not necessarily using 12 tones, but he probably was. Well, what I feel I was hearing was patterns of pitch sets, meaning selecting certain pitches, but still the concept of there's no diatonic voice leading, like all that stuff that we labor so hard to learn in music school, like voice leading
And there's no
chord
modal
patterns.
there's no modal relativity or anything like that. It's just the whatever scale he made up by himself, which might be 6 notes, it might be 9 notes that you never even know.
So that combined with the song style of the Sprechstimme gives it some of that kind of in the 19 teens, 1908 to like 1920, this was a really big thing. And we've got another Halloween costume going by. Somebody with an Uzi. I hope that's a costume.
Yes, I'm
Too.
hoping.
Well, no, it's okay. They passed us now.
They passed us now, so we're
Yeah.
safe. So anyways, combining that in the timbral effects and the singing and the non-tonal quality of it, he gets some really dark, rich, kind of moody sort of sounds out of it, and it's really fun to listen to. Time for more death metal. Come on, we can't get enough of that here.
There you go.
And I had to pick this one because of the title. This is a Northless song. We've played this song on the radio before, but here's the title. For as long as you walk the earth, your blood will reek of failure.
Don't you have to growl that?
For as long as you walk the earth, your blood will reek of failure.
that was a good Eric impression.
No, it wasn't. I cannot do that. This is Northless on riverwestradio.com. Northless on riverwestradio.com. And we heard a song called For As Long As You Walk the Earth, Your Blood Will Reek of Failure.
I love that title. They broke so many rules by making the title that long, and it works.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know I can do that. I feel liberated.
That's right.
There's no end to the possibilities.
Yeah, that was cool. I was like, that is the title, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That is
That was
awesome.
brutal. That was some death metal for you. They do. They're pretty progressive with their death metal, though. I mean, they do little things in odd time signatures, and they use really weird harmonies, or I guess you can sort of call them harmonies.
Well, yeah, and you know, sometimes you'll hear like a typical like minor or even a diminished harmony, and then you'll hear a chord that just has a lot of dissonant notes in it. But in this kind of music, the way this reads, those dissonant notes in the chord almost read more as texture.
Yeah.
It just adds, like, there's notes that are there that it's like adding barbed wire to the fence. You know, it's like an extra barb or an extra something
But-
that makes it just more
Putting
sharp-edged.
putting so many notes next to each other, like so close together, ironically enough, gives the feeling of claustrophobia when you're hearing those chords, the cluster chords. Just like, oh,
Nice.
being in an enclosed space.
That's a great observation. That's actually a fear of mine, actually. Yeah, I don't like... I'm okay with small spaces when I know I can get out, but once I figure out I can't go anywhere, then I get panicky.
So you and I
Yeah.
can't switch seats right now.
We can't.
Okay.
Nope, not at all.
Jacob's in the corner, and Denise is very happily sitting in her space.
I'm by
over
the
there,
door.
By the
There
door.
you go.
You know what, Denise? I'm the same way.
Really? Yeah.
You know how I found out it was really awful? Oh, you're just going to cringe when you hear this story. I went to this all-girl Catholic school right by the lake called St. Mary's Academy, and it was these old buildings. And underneath the buildings, we had our costume shop for the theater in the basement. So I was the costume shop proprietor. I took care of some of the costume shop things. And we went down there to look at costumes, and we did that. And then we decided we were going to explore the tunnels. And the tunnels started. This tunnel would start. We're not supposed to be doing this, okay? The tunnels started normal, like a normal hallway. And they kept getting narrower and narrower. And pretty soon we were bending over. And I was fine with this because we were being naughty and we were looking to see, because there was supposedly tunnels that led to the boys' school across the field, Thomas More, and then there was the seminary. This is a whole complex of buildings, and supposedly all these tunnels connected to all the buildings. So we were exploring, and suddenly I realized that I was hunched over and cramped, and there was a girl in front of me and a girl behind me, and I was like, oh wow. I didn't know I had claustrophobia until that moment. And I totally lost it.
I bet.
I'm like, you guys, we gotta back up right now. No, seriously, right now. We need to like get out of here right now. Everybody's like, what's the matter? I'm like, I don't know, but we gotta get out of here right now. It's just like, you can't even explain why.
Wow.
So that's when I discovered, and I had to have a MRI once. And
when they put you in that thing?
Yeah, they put your head in a giant magnet.
Yeah, that I'll tell you.
I had one of those more than once, actually.
Well, you did, yeah. But I went in that tube, and worse than that, the tube was actually in a truck. It was a mobile MRI.
Ouch.
So the truck was, claustrophobic enough.
Yeah.
And then getting into a tube in a tube.
Right,
I
and then it
just-
makes a lot of noise. And,
I was not gonna be able to stay in there for
Wow.
15 minutes or
Yeah.
20 minutes or however long. So I had to pay more to go to an open MRI. Where
Depends
at
what they're
least-
scanning, and
yeah.
sometimes it takes a long time.
Yeah, it was
Man.
wow. So I'm with you on the claustrophobia.
Yeah, I got locked in my house, oddly enough. I don't know how that's possible, but the door lock wasn't working at all. So even if I tried to unlock it, it was not opening.
Sure.
And I had a date with Chris that day, and so it was a beautiful day out, and I'm like, yay, I get to go out for breakfast. And I get locked in, and then maintenance took forever getting there. But I don't have a big apartment, so it's enough space when I can get out, but once again, it was locked, so I couldn't
Yeah.
get out
Oh
of there.
my god! And just the psychological thing was, I can't leave.
Yeah.
I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
Ah!
I can't jump out the window. I'm on the 3rd floor. I mean, I can, but I'll break something.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than just the window.
Yeah,
right,
there you
right.
go.
So I'm with you on that one.
Anybody scared of clocks?
Clocks?
Yeah. I figured I should share with the general public one of my greatest fears.
Are we
Is that
talking?
why you wrote the song Clockwork?
I know.
Wait. Are we
Wow.
talking analog clocks, digital clocks, both?
It is. I'm scared of huge clocks, like Big Ben type
Oh,
clocks.
that's like the one, the Rockwell.
Yes,
one?
that's
Yeah.
the one I'm afraid of.
Just
Because
Why? Because it's just like time is overwhelming you.
I know, but everyone says that. What ended up happening, I was there was a new pizza place called Transfer. It was new at the time. They've been around about
At
2
Mitchell.
years.
Yeah.
So me and Chris, we caught the 19 there, but we probably should have caught the 15 because it would have got us there closer. And so we kind of got lost on the south side, and we were walking for like a half
that's scary.
hour. I know, right? And it was night though, so we was walking for like a half hour looking for this pizza place. But what was creepy was that everywhere we walked, the clock was there.
It was
and
still looking at you?
huge. Yes, and we were going down like one of the regular streets with houses on the side. It was just this black sky and a big clock.
So do you have nightmares
why
with
that would be
like a giant clock tower following you around in a nightmare? Like,
I haven't had that dream yet, but I
You will
literally-
tonight now.
I know, right?
Great.
I will. It literally scared. I'm okay with it in the daytime,
Sure.
but I won't
Sure.
go over if I'm in a car and I can't help who's driving.
Sure,
I'll have
sure.
to go past, but I'll literally like close my eyes or look somewhere else because it scares me.
it's okay. I just never go to the south side anyway.
Yeah.
So,
So okay, yeah. Let's. Okay, this is great.
Halloween edition.
We've got Halloween edition. We're sharing our fears and all the scary stuff. And Ahab's Ghost had to be played tonight. They had to be played because they have not just one, but 2 songs. Imagine that. I just never would have thunk it. 2 songs with the word blood in it. So we're going to play a song called Covered in Blood. If my iPod would work, which it's not. Come on. Oh, there we go. Covered in Blood. Ahab's Ghost on the Halloween edition of Compose Yourself with Julie Brandenburg. That song was called Covered in Blood. And I expected nothing but mayhem and scary stuff from the guys in Ahab.
Oh yeah, just that was an epic song. That was
Yes.
It was cool. It was very simple. The lyrics were just kind of like, I'm covered in blood. How did this happen? You know.
It's pretty good. That's Sam. He sure is a heck of a drummer, that Sam.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he's,
yeah.
he's got some feet. He can really play the bass pedals pretty well.
So we've got another song by Canyons of Static. And this one is called Blinding Cold, Casket Black. I think I forgot to put that. Did I forget to put that on my iPod?
Looks that way.
It does appear that way. And it's a really cool song, and we will listen to it maybe next week. So that means I'm going to play a Zolotl song called Demons. And we had Chris Ortiz in the studio a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we'll listen to Demons by Zolotl.
Ever since I was a child,
Oh my God! Okay, calm down, everybody. Calm down.
Oh my God,
Everybody
what
just
was that?
Calm down. It's okay.
Oh God, what is going on?
No, he's not supposed to be coming in
No,
here.
it's okay. No, guys. Seriously, I invited Zombie John to come into the studio today. I'm trying to raise awareness.
Oh my God. That's what's going on?
It's okay.
Oh,
He's
okay.
all right. He's not going to eat your brains. I promise.
Oh, jeez.
He's not going to eat our
You
brains.
just like came out of nowhere.
John, right? We talked about this.
No, I'll be okay.
You're not going to have any, like, sudden...
I just had some
Urge.
fresh ones.
Oh, okay. Well, too much information. But, so, John, Zombie John is here in the studio with
Yeah.
us for Halloween. And, this
He's
is
is
kind
it
of
okay
your
that he
night.
sits next to me?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you
John,
should be
John,
good.
You're going to be okay, right?
I'll be all right.
Okay. I really appreciate you making an appearance here tonight because I know this is you must have to have roller skates tonight to just get around. I mean, you have so many engagements.
It's a very busy evening.
Yeah, a lot
Very
of things
busy.
on your
Yeah.
agenda.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, John, we spoke a couple weeks ago, and you really opened my heart because I understand that, we really need to spread awareness about
Well, we may look like we're dripping and decaying, but
Right.
we do really have solid hearts. They're dried out and well preserved.
Right.
And, yeah,
Still have feelings though.
well, right.
naturally, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
we want to raise awareness about your people or beings. I mean, I feel a little awkward, but what is the politically correct way to refer to your...
Zombies is okay.
Zombies.
What about Undead American?
Undead American? Yes, some of us are Americans.
Okay.
Not everyone.
All right.
So depending on the region that we're in, undead, walking undead,
All right, cool.
that's certainly fine.
I mean, I really came to realize that there's just a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah, well, and it's understandable. You must feel, as the general public, that we really just feed on you,
Well,
and that's all we do.
Yeah.
But there's more to zombies than just that.
They don't
Share
just.
that with us.
Okay.
I was born at a very young age and wasn't always a zombie. And it wasn't until I was bitten trying to avoid other zombies that I realized that it can happen to anyone, any one of us.
So this is basically a minority group that one can join at any time.
Yeah.
There you go. That's interesting. Minorities seem to be very underrepresented, but right now you're making up a quarter of the radio panel.
Yeah, you are actually.
So, tell us about some of the misconceptions and the uncomfortableness that people might sort of have around you, and how people can learn to just sort of accept and be more open to the zombie
Well,
type person.
one of the common reactions I get is the grossness of zombies. You know,
But zombies are just different, right? They're not actually gross.
Differently pleasant, right?
it all has to do with your own comfort zone.
I see.
Some people find decaying flesh, somewhat grotesque.
Which is why I got a little nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry for that initial
sorry,
reaction.
I'm sorry. That's okay.
Okay, because you kind of just came out of nowhere, so.
Yeah, it was very frightening.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting, all of a sudden you hear the brains and it's just, oh man, where did...
Well, right. And I mean, once you get used to the stench, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, if I'm offending you, you just let me know. Well, once you get used to it, it really just kind of goes away after a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's fine. I think you look really great for,
When people
For
talk
the
to you,
undead?
do they try to talk to you like other zombies talk? Do they walk up to you and go brains, or do they actually speak to you normally?
Well, yeah. Some people think it's funny when they do that. It's kind of like people talking to babies. And
Yeah.
They come up with the zombie speak,
Mm-hmm.
and if you were missing your tongue, you would have a hard time talking too.
Yeah, you do a very good job for not having a
right.
tongue. Actually, you must have adapted over a long time.
See, you don't think of
Lots
these
of
kind
practice,
things.
yeah.
That's impressive.
That
And
is.
I suppose people think that just because you're a zombie, that you know every zombie in Milwaukee. Because of course you all know.
Right, and that we all look alike.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
And you all sound alike too, right?
Right.
That's just that's stereotyping right there. I don't even
Yeah.
think that's fair. How can somebody say that about zombies? They're obviously zombies are people too.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk to a zombie like they're any other person,
Well,
they were people. They were people.
They were people.
so
They were. Definitely. It must be really hard to go to the dry cleaners.
Yeah.
Do you get refused?
Can they get the
sometimes?
blood out at a dry cleaner? Can you do that?
Well, they have some good tricks at cleaning your clothes.
Over at Martinizing, they got some. They can get the blood out of anything.
Well, I think that's a good argument for zombie-owned businesses. If you get a network of undead to sort of serve the community, maybe people will change their minds. More people will go to the zombie dry
maybe if
cleaners.
there's
But
this
they really
many.
are good at getting the blood out.
If zombies are a growing minority, then maybe we should have some zombies run for Congress, because honestly, I'm willing to try anything at this point.
Yeah.
Well,
If you live once, you know some things.
And-
That's a good
And
point.
having a zombie be a representative member of society will make sure that all zombies get an equal say, just like other living
Yeah,
things.
that's it. Yeah.
That seems fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I think having more zombie representation, more representation for all Americans.
So,
Or
do you see the first zombie president happening in your lifetime?
well, I expect to lead a very long undead life. So yes,
That's
if I can protect my own brains,
something to hope for.
yeah.
Oh,
That's not that.
well, I just wanna,
I personally, I'm a naysayer. I don't think it's possible for there ever to be a zombie president. I just don't see that happening, you know.
Jacob, you just have to kind of let go of your biases. I think, that was the whole purpose.
I don't know if I could vote for a zombie. I'm so used to non-zombies that, I just don't know what I would say. I'll have to think about this one.
Okay, well, I'm hoping that the zombie sensitivity has been raised and people are.
I hope so too, and thank you.
Well, I just want you to feel at home here, so I'm going to play, we're going to kind of end the show with a song by Ahab's Ghost called Double Blood. I think you'd really like this band, John. So
Yeah, based on your clothing, I think you would like this song.
yeah, this song is dedicated to Zombie John. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Ahab's Ghost on riverwestradio.com. You've listened to another edition of Compose Yourself with Julie Brandenburg. Thanks a lot, Jacob. And Denise and our special guest, John the Zombie. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Julie.
And we're going to go out today with a Halloween-themed song by Denise Burton, who is also known as Compose online. And tell us what the name of the song is.
The song is called A Tale of Two Kingdoms.